So let's move on to our first discussions. As I said, we're going to have 3 talks, then we're going to go into a workshop. The workshop that we're going into is, do you know what a B Corp is and how it could help your business? And when I was told that was the title, I went, I don't know what B Corp is. So there you go. We obviously, I said we need to be at that workshop. But first, we've got 3 talks. We're going to have Xina Gooding. Xina's going to talk about a compassionate life. Xina, are you here?
I certainly am.
Brilliant. Come on up, love. We're then going to have Ed Carlisle talking about chaos theory, kindness, compassion, cooperation and compassion to self. I can't see Ed. Oh, you're there. Hi, Ed. Brilliant. Right, you're ready to go afterwards. And then we've got Miranda. I know Miranda's here. I've seen Miranda there. Miranda Araya is going to talk about compassion to self. So, Xina, can I hand over to you? You're going to be talking about a compassionate life. Everybody, Xina Gooding.
Good morning, everybody. Are you ready for me? Yeah. Good. What is the definition of a miracle? Today, the definition is asking me to speak passionately about something for just 10 minutes. Let's see if that miracle can happen. Gloria, I'm relying on you to help because she's strategically placed that shot too far from me, that one behind. So let's get started on compassion. I walked around this morning, done my rounds as usual, and had a look at some of the stalls here to see, what does compassion mean for us today in this room? Who's reflecting on that compassion and how we're bringing it to this room and how are we showing up? I've got another question for you all. Who's had a fantastic past 18 to 24, 12 months? Has that been a bit of a struggle? I want to talk about that in context. There are 3 things I'm going to cover today in a compassionate life and what that means. First thing is in the worldwide context. The second is in business and the workplace. And the third is in family, in and amongst family, and compassion towards the self. So there might be a little bit of a crossover with what Miranda and I are talking about today. But I think given what's happened in the world over the past few months, we can safely say that we've had some opportunity for compassion. We've had some people who are afraid of the pandemic and are hoping that the vaccine could work. We've had people who are against vaccines. We've had people pitted against one another. We've had Brexit happen. Some people are pro-Brexit, some people are opposed to Brexit. In those things, whether it's a political environment, a health, worldwide pandemic, there is opportunity for compassion. And I'm going to explain to you why. There are people who have been affected over the past few months who have not been able to go outside and have been pleased about that. There are some people who have not been able to go outside and that has really triggered their anxiety. There is an opportunity for compassion, whichever side of that divide you fall. Compassion and understanding. I've heard people being referred to as sheeple if they want to go for vaccine. I've heard people being referred to as anti-vaxxers, if they're anti-maskers, if they don't want to wear masks. There's actually an opportunity there for compassion on either side. This is an opportunity for us to see where compassion can really come to the fore, because I believe that compassion is a verb. It's about doing. It's not about sitting down, making, quite passive remarks and then going back to normal. It's about paying attention, looking at what's happening, seeing how things in the world affect us. And it doesn't really matter whether you're pro-vaccine or against the vaccine. What really does matter is your attitude towards everybody who's in the same boat. Might be having a different perspective to you. That's an opportunity to show compassion and look at it from a different perspective. Same with Brexit. Same with politics, same with religion, same with sexuality, race. Just about anything that can be seen as an opportunity to divide us is actually the perfect opportunity for us to come together. All we need to do is look at things from different perspectives with an ounce, at least an ounce of compassion in our hearts. In the workplace, we have people who are suffering with illnesses, or they're workaholics, or they don't see their families often enough because they think that's the way to do it, work really, really hard, really, really hard. If you're in a position of leadership, that might work in your favour if you've got someone who's working themselves into the ground. If someone's ill, you might be less compassionate about that person and think about your bottom line. No, that's another opportunity to show compassion. Put yourself in that person's shoes. See how they're working themselves into the ground. Is that really going to help your business in the long term? Wouldn't it be better to help them to work in a more sustainable way so they can stay and work in your business longer instead of burning out? I'm really passionate about compassion in leadership. There's an old school way of doing things, talking about business in terms of buy, sell, the whole smashing the fist down on the table and making demands to make money and to make your workforce work really hard for you and giving them guilt trips if they're ill or if they've got a child who's ill. This is an opportunity for compassion. Compassion in the workplace, compassion in leadership, and how we look at people from a different perspective. If people in the workforce are supported, then that's better for the business, surely, no? If they're made to understand that, actually, I'm really sorry that your child's ill, tell them I said get well soon. Tell them that my child had the same illness and it didn't take too long for them to recover, and it might be a bit scary, but they'll be all right. Do you know how much closer that would make your colleague to you if you just exchange some words of kindness? Instead of thinking, great, now that's all, I'm going to have to take on all their workload. Well, guess what? The position might be reversed at some point in the future. And they'll bend over backwards to help you and help you with your workload because of those few words of kindness. Now, I know that I'm probably preaching to the converted here, but the point of me talking this way is to reinforce what we already know, right? And to give you ideas of how to be more vocal, more verbal, more active in the way that you address compassion in your life. This brings me to circles of influence, whether that's your friends and family. And I have a very strong view on family. Not all of my family are related to me by blood, and not everybody related to me by blood do I consider family. Family for me is deeper, further, wider, just more than that. And I would like you to consider family. Don't have to take it on, this is not a dictatorship here, but just consider family in that view, based on core values, kindness, compassion, and the ability to have a conversation even if you don't agree on the topic. Real to the root, really to the core. Compassion is the ability to talk about things that you're really got polar opposite views on, but in a peaceful way. That to me is civilization. It's not whether you're Conservative or Labour or Green, or whether you're pro-Brexit or against it. It's the ability to talk about things that could potentially pull us apart, but speak about it in a really nice way, without threat. Without threat. For me, compassion means that must be the goal. To be able to have our differences, not be under threat, but just be able to explain and talk openly. We know we have to pick and choose who we can have these conversations with, right? I'm not going to be talking to a neo-Nazi anytime soon about my complexion here. I'm just being honest and keeping it real, right? We have to be careful. And this is a great place where we can find like-minded people and have really deep, important conversations. One that I'm really interested in, as a peaceful person, I'm all about peace and love. I'm here just for peace and love, really, and to exude peace and love. That's my goal here. That's why I'm here in life. So for somebody like me, a big concern is, how do countries and people and nations and communities who are pro-peace, how do we protect ourselves from people who are not? That's a real conundrum for me, you know. That's a real conundrum. It's all very well saying I'm against nuclear bombs, which by the way I am. But what about the other dude who's for nuclear bombs and doesn't really like me and my country and my people? What do we do? These are the kind of conversations I would like to have with like-minded people. They're deep conversations about peace and compassion and how they work in the real world. How they work in the real world. And you know where it all starts? It all starts with you. It's very difficult to be compassionate in a long-term, sustainable way if you're not taking care of yourself and you're not being the example to other people of how you need to be treated. If you're mistreating yourself, it's kind of like a subliminal message. Everybody treat me bad. Or it's normal to treat me bad because I'm showing up in a way that is making that acceptable. It's not really. We have to be compassionate with ourselves. Eat great food, make yourselves happy. Have some exercise, treat your body really nicely. Yeah, I'm not saying go on a strict diet of beans and water, or join the next jogging group for the next marathon. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, remember, we've got to keep this vehicle here for the rest of our lives. Let's look after it, right? Let's look after it. We're the vessel. This is the vessel for our peace. Yes, so we have to be peaceful within. Practice that peace. Some people might say, well, how am I supposed to do this? This is a little bit mind-blowing, Xina. I don't normally talk about myself in third person, by the way. Well, this is a bit mind-blowing, Xina. How am I supposed to do all of this? It's a bit overwhelming. Well, just think about how we speak to children. Be nice, Johnny. Share your toys. No one's going to turn around and say to you, well, that's a bit overwhelming, isn't it? And say, Johnny to do that, but how's he going to manage all of that? No, because it's not overwhelming. It's really quite simple. In fact, it's so simple. It's child's play. It's literally child's play. That's why we speak to children like that. Be nice, Johnny. Share your toys. Simple. Be nice to people. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to your family. Be nice to your colleagues. Be nice to the people you lead. Think about your position in the world and how you can make it better. It's one of the core reasons we're here today. But just think about how what triggers you when you see things at play on the world stage. Look at it from somebody else's perspective, because that is compassion in action. It's not always easy, but just remember, it's still child's play. Thanks very much.